Hi and welcome by today's video about the top 10 cutest baby animals on Earth. Enjoy! 10th place Sloth. There are 6 species of sloths, each of which is renowned for its slow motions and seemingly laziness lifestyle. Sloths are endemic to the tropical jungles of South America where they spend the majority of their lives in the trees. They have a surprisingly short gestation period, and sloth mothers will give birth just 4 months later. The tiny pups are born with their eyes open, completely covered in fur, and even capable of climbing. At this stage, they will weigh just 10 ounces, or about 280 grams, which is about a 15th of the full weight. For the first few months of their lives, however, sloth pups are able to care for themselves and cling to their mothers' bellies, who will take on the responsibility of feeding them. It will be another 2 months before the pups start eating leaves on their own. They maintain such a close bond with their mother that they stay with them for at least a year or two, but after this, they'll move away to their own territory where they'll become once they reach adulthood. The 9th Panda. Pandas are among the cutest animals because of their docile disposition and soft, fuzzy appearance, but if anything can top them, it's baby pandas. When pandas are born, they are pink blind and even less useful than adults. They also weigh no more than 5 ounces, 140 grams, which is one of the smallest amounts compared to the mother of any mammal and is believed to be the lightest weight in the animal kingdom. In contrast, they start to grow white fur within 48 hours of birth, and by 3 weeks, their entire bodies are covered, with the addition of black markings around their eyes and in patches elsewhere. After 2 months, their eyes and ears will have opened, and they'll start to leave their mothers in search of food on their own. At about 5 months old, however, is when they're at their cutest. Number 8 Rhino. As some of the largest land animals on Earth, rhinos aren't exactly the cutest animals that come to mind, but when they're young, things are very different. After a gestation period of roughly 15 to 16 months, which is almost twice as long as humans, rhino cubs can weigh the same as a person within just a few days of being born, and it only takes them about a week to learn how to walk. There is without a doubt something incredibly adorable about seeing these tiny rhinos stumbling through their first steps in life, knowing that they will one day be one of the largest animals of all. You can already see the resemblance between them and adults. Even though they have thick leathery protective skin like adults from the moment they first enter the world, they stay close to their mothers in the wild for a year or so while they grow because they're particularly vulnerable to predators during this time. Number 7 Seal. There are more than 50 species of seals that can be found in the colder waters of the northern and southern hemispheres, ranging in size from the smallest, the bicalcio, to the largest, the elephant seal, which can grow to be up to 16 feet or 5 meters long and weigh more than 3.5 tons. Despite growing to such large sizes, seals start out much smaller, and it's impossible to see a seal pup scrambling across the sands of a beach without. Youngsters in this first year are barely able to swim, therefore will spend much of their time clinging to their mothers, who they need on for milk. They are covered in an initially pinkish fur coat that gradually fades to a gray tint over time. One of the reasons they look so adorable is because they develop a thick layer of blubber within their bodies that can serve as a source of energy. Amazingly, to make this possible, they are already able to hold their breath for up to 2 hours from the moment they are born, and this time will only increase with age. Once they wean themselves off of their mother's milk, their mothers will go on to mate again, leaving them on their own, thus they must quickly locate food if they are to survive. Caracal kitten No. 6. Among wild cat species, the caracal is one that is indigenous to several parts of Africa, typically the Middle East and Asia, reaching 103 centimeters or 43 inches. Length of centimeters and growing muscle. They have strong bodies, they are nocturnal. They frequently reside in dry climates, and particularly fond of carnivores, bird species, rodents, small animals, and even though adult caracals are magnificent, their kittens are so adorable. They have a 2 to 3 month gestation period and a litter size of 1 to 3. A litter of up to 6 kittens will be born hidden, burrow in a lot of foliage to start. The kittens cannot see. They can't hear because their ears are covered. To pull their claws back, but after a week or else their hearing begins to function, enabling them to investigating their environment. It is regarded to take nearly 3 months before they are large and robust enough to hunt. First time, and they'll typically be anticipated to depart from the safety of its parents. When they are around 10 months old, They will strive to raise a family of their own adorable little kittens and learn to survive on their own. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe on Top 7s for more videos. Number 5. Owl. Thanks to their rounded heads and more than 200 different species that have been identified, owls are among the most attractive birds of prey. It's extremely rare to see them in the wild due to how well hidden they usually are, but if you're ever lucky enough to do so, you're in for a treat. Typically covered in a thick white or gray down with heart-shaped heads and black button-like eyes, they usually have phenomenal vision, sharp talons, and near-silent flight. However, their fluffy and helpless babies are some of the cutest animals of all. The egg tooth will vanish within a week of hatching, their weight will increase by more than 2,000% in the first month, and they will develop their acromion. They also still have a noticeable protraction from their beaks, which is known as an egg tooth, which is how birds cut their way out of their shell. Outlets will typically only be a few inches tall despite growing in some cases to 10 or 20 times this size in adulthood. Number 4. Giraffe. The giraffe has the longest gestation period of any mammal at about 15 months, which gives the embryo enough time to develop to quite some size. Mothers remain standing while giving birth, so the babies, who are about 6 feet or 1.8 meters tall, can be seen in the wild. While adult giraffes may be one of the most spectacular parts of a safari, their babies are also one of the cutest. The baby will stay in place for about an hour after birth, coming out feet first with their heads and necks stretched over their front knees, but because to the dangers in the wild, they can miraculously walk and run after that. In many aspects, they resemble adults in miniature. Astonishingly, they will have doubled in height by the time they are just 1 year old, allowing them to reach a much greater variety of vegetation and allowing them to be practically self-sufficient. While they may look cute from a distance, despite having proportionately shorter necks and much more playful temperaments, they only consume their mother's milk for the first 6 months of life and will then start to forage for leaves and grasses. A young giraffe is one animal you should appreciate from a distance because they are born at the same size as an adult person and can defend themselves with a powerful kick from an early age. Number 3. Walrus. Endemic to countries like Canada's frigid seas near the Arctic Circle, there are 2 species of walruses, the largest of which, the Pacific walrus, can reach lengths of up to 14 feet, more than 4 meters, making it one of the largest semi-aquatic marine mammals in the world. These enormous mammals are believed to have descended from a bear-like land animal around 10 million years ago. They are highly social animals, sometimes forming colonies of thousands of individuals, and enjoy close contact so much that they even sleep on top of each other when they are born. After 11 months of development in the womb, they already have their fur and functional eyes. They have large flippers to pull themselves through the water, a thick leathery skin to keep them warm, and powerful jaws to hunt seals and mollusks. They can swim in about 1 hour, nevertheless, the young ones lack tusks and will spend the majority of their time clinging to their mothers' backs until they are able to swim well enough to keep up. The entire family, including aunts and uncles, will assist in raising the young ones. Being practically chained together for up to a year before the children can care for themselves, the mother-child attachment is especially endearing. I frequently see them hugging and kissing. Number 2. Penguin. All but one of the 18 species of penguins are found in the southern hemisphere. They are flightless birds that are exceptionally well adapted to swimming in water, and they typically spend more than half of their lives in the sea. While each species has its own unique characteristics, when penguins are first born, they usually stand no taller than 4 inches, 10 centimeters, and are initially born naked. It takes them about a week to develop their first coat of fluffy feathers. Their parents feed them regurgitated fish, krill, and squid, and in some species, the adults actually fully digest the food first to turn it into a form of fish milk. The first years of their adult lives are about learning to hunt, swim, put on enough weight to grow to adult size, and develop their adult feathers. Although they may be left in groups with other adults while their parents go in search of food, newborn penguins will remain clingy to their parents for at least 6 months. For the first few months, baby penguins are prone to all kinds of funny behaviors as they learn how to use their feet and fins, but they don't stay as cute as this for long as their first fluffy coat usually starts to be replaced with down. In addition to providing them with an opportunity to feed and ensure their safety, this also encourages the chicks to become accustomed to other people and helps develop the complex social dynamics that they rely upon later in life. And the cutest for last, skunk. Few people would ever choose to get too close to a skunk because of the risk of the smell, but if you were to encounter a baby one, you might be tempted to go ahead and pick them up depending on the species. Skunks are native to the Americas and are probably best known for their stinky spray that they use for defense and their black and white markings. But they are only a small portion of this when they are born because, like almost all mammals, they are live births. At this point, they are blind and deaf, have a layer of fur covering them, and will only open their eyes after about 3 weeks. During this time, they spend most of their time playing and exploring while being protected by an adult. And they spend all of their time with their siblings. They can release their spray from an early age, but it doesn't pose as much of a risk as it does for adults. However, while they are still growing, it can take up to 10 days to replenish this supply, so they use it as sparingly as possible. Interestingly, because they are such a social species, they almost never leave their mother's care before they are ready to mate.
Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. A new video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday around 9 a.m.